everybody! For today's video, I thought I would introduce all my OCs as I make my thank you for 30k. I have now reached over 30,000 followers on my Instagram, and that's such a big number to say out loud. I still can't get over how big that it's a lot. But anyway, let's get on to introducing some of my Hazbin Hotel OCs. Not all of my characters are in this drawing because I have over 20 total, I believe, last I checked. But those who are not in this photo are from my Helluvaboss OC line. So, let's get into this. As you can tell in the middle, that's my Imp Sona, aka me. For those of you who have watched my questionnaire video, you have seen my avatar interact every so often. However, as you can tell, I did change my Imp Sona. She's no longer the carbon copy of all the imps that we've seen so far. I decided to change my Imp Sona to something I'm more comfortable with. Most of my Sonas are mermaid inspired or sea inspired in some way, and as much as I really wanted to keep the original design, I just didn't feel comfortable with that overall style. So I decided, since we were not going to see the Envy Ring at all this season, I would try my best to imagine what the Envy Ring imps would look like. Keep in mind, this is just based off my own ideas, where when Blitzo said that there was an ocean, I immediately thought that imps and Leviathan themed creatures are more sea and serpent styled, so I made you a video of what I think imps and their native demons in those rings look like. If you want to see that, let me know, cause I've gotten a few people, but I'm still not sure about it. And I know I don't 100% look exactly like my Imp Sona. I'm still waiting for a bit of my hair to grow out into those tufts, but yeah, eventually I will get my hair bleached and styled the exact same way. But yeah, I just wanted to change my Imp Sona to something more aquatic. I've always had a really deep love for sea life and mermaids and all of that. And then I'll probably get a few of you wondering why my Imp Sona looks the way that it does. Mostly because I have exaggerated some of my features that I have been either self-conscious about or really like. I have a ton of freckles. They're just hard to see because I cover them up with makeup. But yeah, I am a very freckly person. So on to the next character, who you guys have already been introduced to. My first Hazbin Hotel baby, Haffy. You've all basically heard her story, and she gets the most out of me. I draw her constantly. She gets all the good stuff out of everybody else. She'll always have a fondness in my heart, since she's the one that pretty much started this whole thing, and she's kind of built this empire in a way. I hope to do more with her in the future. I just haven't decided on what. Fun fact though about when I draw Haffy, I can draw her perfectly. It is always her ear that trips me up. I always have to trace over the one time that I did it perfectly, and no matter how hard I try to redraw her ear, it just never comes out as perfect as it did the first time. So yeah. I mean, Haffy she's my favorite. Well, she's my favorite because she's my firstborn, but you know, she, like all my OCs, have little bits of my personality baked into them. Haffy has my love for color and overall bubbly personality. Back when I didn't care about nothing and nobody, I was the most happiest thing in the world. I smiled constantly. I still do, but not as much. I've become cynical in my old age. But Haffy has always been that part of me that just loves life and, wants to be happy and be, a joy around others. I don't know. Every time I look at her, I immediately start smiling because she just means the world to me in a lot of ways. She also, I don't remember if I ever said it in her original introduction video, but she is also asexual, as am I, so we have that in common. I have given all my characters sexualities. Some of them are based on parts of my life where I was confused at some point, but she's probably my most self-insert character. But let's get on to my first male OC. He was a struggle. He still is a struggle. But Pyro, now that you officially get to see him, Pyro is my least talked about character. People do ask me about him occasionally, and most of the time I just kind of beat around the bush because I don't want to give too much away. But I figure I might as well just let it happen. Pyro and Haffy are dating, and a lot of his life in hell is surrounded by her. He does a lot of stuff with her, for her. They live together. They do everything together. They are sewn at the hip. And the only reason for that is mostly because Pyro has attachment issues, and he's probably my saddest OC, honestly, because of his home life situation and all that. So basically, when Pyro was alive, he did not live in the best conditions. His father was not 100% nice to him or to the rest of his family. His mother was extremely sick. He took care of her as best he could. Their older sister was just as bad as the father, so you had two tyrants in the house. Pyro took all of it. He took all of the heat, all of the hits, and everything. So all those scars that you see on him are from when he was alive. I made them a little bit extra to really show that none of what happened to him will ever go away. I guess you can consider him kind of like Kenny from South Park, but a little sadder and without the constantly dying part. But yeah. Eventually, though, his mother does pass away, and his father and his sister are going through the money like crazy. There's not going to be enough for him or his little sister by the time that, they finish using it. So Pyro decides to do the one good thing that he can do. He basically sends his little sister to stay the night at somebody else's house. He drugs his family and sets the house ablaze, and knows that he would rather not live anymore than basically have his sister watch him rot away in jail. So he dies with them, and that's another thing with Pyro as well. He knows what he did was wrong, and he understands that, but he knows that was the only way to get out of the situation they were in. And that's where the whole situation where he does believe in Charlie's cause, and he does want to go to heaven. His main goal is to get to heaven before his sister ever arrives. He wants to be there before she gets there. So yeah, Pyro is my most sad character. He goes through a lot. I put him through a lot. But he is weirdly happy in hell to a degree. I mean, as long as he has happy, everything seems to be okay. So anyway, let's move on to my other main man. I still haven't 100% settled on a name. He's either going to be named Iggy or Ziggy, and I may just keep both. I don't know. But Ziggy is another self-insert character, which is weird to say because I'm basically outing myself. If you know, you know, but I lived that hippie lifestyle pretty hard. I was friends with all the green junkies, and it was fun for a while, but Ziggy is basically all the parts of me that loved the 70s lifestyle, loved the free love and all of that kind of stuff. My current style is My Hero Academia and 70s aesthetic. So, but Ziggy's a fun character to work with because I put a lot into this character. Like I have all my notes about him. It did change over time, but his whole design is based off of, he's basically designed to be like the embodiment of drugs. He is made out of, Mary Jane. He is also a Venus flytrap. He is also like another toxic type of plant. He's mixed of all kinds of different plants. And then the little zigzags on his chest and face, you'll see them later, that's basically his body can split in half, just like a Venus flytrap, and like close. The fun thing, though, about Ziggy was mostly coming up with his story and his, overall personality. So his personality is very laid back. He's a very calm person. He likes to laugh. He's, a chill dude. But he's very philosophical. There are occasional times where he'll be hanging out with Happy and Pyro. He lives with them. And he'll just start talking, and it's this, most profound thing. And Happy and Pyro just stare at him like, dude. And he is a pacifist, so walking around basically being a walking, talking drug plant, he does attract a lot of attention, but he is able to protect himself in a lot of ways that don't involve him actually fighting anybody. A bit of his powers are similar to Val's with the whole smoke aesthetic, but his main protection style is plant manipulation, and that's basically it. The fun thing with his story is when he was alive, he was an activist. He believed in saving the planet. That was his whole thing, peace and love, but ended up getting framed for a crime he basically did not commit. He wasn't even there. And by the end of it, he was put to death. Now, this is where, this is like the fun little stuff that I started to mess with. He is technically supposed to be in heaven because he never truly did anything wrong on earth. That the paperwork that I'm assuming goes through heaven got mixed up. Like, in their system, they think he did something wrong, but in reality, he did nothing wrong. So he is in hell by mistake. He honestly could care less if he's in heaven or hell. He's basically pretty happy no matter where he's at, which is why. The next character that you're seeing right now is Ginger, and you guys have seen me redesign her, so yeah. Originally, her design was a bit more like also 70s style, but I wasn't too happy with the overall design. I don't know, I feel like it could have been better. It did end up looking a little bit better, but I've always wanted to draw, I don't know, I was on this plant kick, because Ginger and Ziggy were made around the same time, but I don't know, I wanted to draw like this mushroom girl, because I love mushrooms. I love like the aesthetics of mushrooms. A good chunk of like my knickknacks are mushroom themed. I don't know, I like fairy stuff, but she is based off of like my love for the 90s R&B hip hop scene. I don't know. Back then in the day, when I was still in middle school, that's all I listened to, and I still have a bunch of albums, and I think Soulja Boy came out around that time too, and that was a big song I was super into. She's based off my middle school playlist, basically. It seems silly, but I love old music, honestly. I mean, who doesn't? The newer music today is just meh, but anywho, on to the rest of her design and all of that special stuff. Ginger's my sassy boss. She's basically, when she was alive, she was basically like the top woman in the like gang that she was in, and eventually she gets shot and ends up in hell, and her and a few other members end up in there with her. And they were lower level than she was. Like, if anyone higher up had died along with her, then they probably would have taken over the group. But Ginger ended up taking it over and created her, like, own gang and her own section of hell that is she's, like, slowly making into her own empire. She wants to become an overlord, is her whole thing. But it's hard for her to get people to join willingly because they're like, no thanks. But she has a tendency to not take no for an answer and uses her spores to control other demons into joining and being a part of her crew. So yeah. But I really needed to redesign her, and I still kind of want to change a few things, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that Ginger ended up coming out. I don't know. I feel like I just could make her better, but I'm like, maybe I should have done something different. I don't know. You guys will let me know. Anyway, on to my baby bees. I have a sweet spot for bees. You have no idea. I just love bees. Something about them. They're so cute and fluffy. It's like, but anyway, when I made these two, one of my family members had passed away, and our main like favorite thing to do was watch westerns together, and I really wanted to incorporate that into my bees. So I made Virgil and Goldie. Yep, two of the most southern names I could have picked. But yeah, Virgil and Goldie are twins. They are also like early 70s. If any of you have ever heard of the Chicken Ranch, then you know what I'm talking about. But back in the day, there was I'm gonna call it a brothel that was still running, and it was called the Chicken Ranch. And they made a movie about it. You know, as soon as all of that just came flooding back to me, I had to create these two characters. So Goldie was created first because, obviously, she is my star, she is my queen, she is everything. Fun thing about Goldie is that she does not like the way she looks as a demon. She does not want to look like a demon. She wants to look human again. So in order for her to feel more human and less like monstery than she looks, she ripped her antennas and her wings off. So she doesn't have those anymore. But she still has her like, she is a queen bee. That is her design. So she still has her like mind control, manipulation. And then she also has like a fun kind of psychedelic situation as well, where she can like make people hallucinate a little bit. Not as much as Valentino. It's still pretty weak. But the fun thing though about Goldie, I guess her storyline, because I've changed it so many times, but I finally stuck on one thing where Goldie worked at the Chicken Ranch. Her brother convinced her to, leave the Chicken Ranch for his brothel. Yeah, a weird way about that. But he didn't want her to work as, one of the ladies of the night. He wanted her to be the woman that takes care of the girls. And he figured it would be okay for her to do that. Goldie has a child. Virgil doesn't know this, and she refuses to tell him because they have a very strained relationship already. But Virgil's the reason that they were killed in the first place, so she still resents him for it. As for Virgil, though, I don't know. He is a smooth talker. Virgil is very high energy. He loves to work. He loves to be able to do stuff. Virgil has a tendency to take things that don't belong to him. He does have a bit sticky fingers. Virgil does play the violin. He's not too bad at it, and he will, challenge anybody if he can to a fiddle contest. He enjoys it way too much. Now on to my nasty boy. So, a lot of you who know who this character is know that he was originally designed as something else, but he did get redesigned because he wasn't really fitting with my aesthetic of all my characters, and it was bothering me, so I changed him up a bit. This is Vince. Now, Vince was designed originally as Vinny, who was a mafia-styled sniper. He just wasn't working, so he ended up turning into basically my top favorite things. He's got a bit of Tom from Ed's World, 2D from Gorillaz. It's weird to say, but he's mixed with trailer trash. I have I had a thing for greasy redneck boys, and I hear how bad it is, but I couldn't help it. They were always so funny, and I don't know, I had more fun with those kind of guys. But he was a fun character actually to redesign because the first design was bat themed. I didn't want to take the bat design away, so he's designed to look like a orange bat, and he is blind. He is 100% blind. He cannot see he doesn't even care because he was born blind as well. So when he was alive, he was blind, and when he died, he's blind. Nothing feels different to him. Everything still feels somewhat the same, other than the whole body change. The fun thing though about Vince is that I didn't want him to be, helpless. Vince does know how to fix cars. But yeah, Vince used to work at the motocross races and stuff like that. He loves to do it. That's his favorite thing to do. But Vince does have a greedy side. He will do anything for a buck. He will con you, and he will milk you dry of all your cash. He doesn't care. He is in love with the green. He loves money. And that's pretty much what ended him up in hell in the first place. He swindled somebody out of their cash, and he ended up being choked to death. That's why there's bandages around his neck, because the bruises have not gone away. Which leads me on to the other character, and Demonte is my overlord character. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, but this is a headcanon for me. Demonte is a mix of a human sinner and a hell native. Demonte's mother is a peacock, and then Demonte's father happened to be an albino lion. So that's why he's the colors that he is has the same kind of albinoism, but mixed with a bluish tint like the peacock. One thing for Demonte, though, is that since he grew up in hell, he has a weird thing about love and connection. He wants it so badly, but he has a warped version of it. He wants the love that he wants to be so perfect that he can't see past any imperfections, and he ends up always killing the woman that he has, put any affection into. And his mom just shakes her head because she's like, "You're never gonna find somebody the way you keep acting." And he's like, "I don't care. I just want someone to love me for me." And it's just no, dude, no. No one's gonna love you if you keep killing everybody. So Demonte has his own weird hang-ups about all that kind of stuff, but he does have a relationship with Vince. Now, you're probably wondering, why does he have a relationship with Vince? That's so weird. It's mostly because Demonte knows that Vince only wants him for his money, that Vince doesn't want him for love whatsoever, and he's able to connect to Vince because he knows what Vince wants. Usually the women that pursue Demonte want his money, but they never say it to his face, and they just keep lying to him, and he knows that they're lying to him, so he has a little bit of a weird weird thing about that. But because Vince doesn't lie to him, they've become not necessarily an item. They kind of just hook up from time to time, and Demonte pays Vince for it. But they have a weird relationship where they do talk about some stuff every so often. And there is a bit of jealousy with Vince towards Demonte, because Demonte admits that he does have somewhat of a crush on Angel Dust, because he finds Angel Dust to be the prettiest, human sinner he's ever seen. And Vince is like, I don't know how I feel about this. You're my sugar daddy, but I somewhat like you. I don't know. Their relationship is very rocky, and they still don't know what they're gonna do about it. But yeah, my trailer trash boy and my pompous rich boy have a weird relationship, but it just makes it that much juicier. But yeah, I hope I was able to keep you guys entertained about getting to know all my characters and, bits and pieces about their lives and how they act. And eventually I would like to do like a full comic of each of them, or at least a few animatics with them. I don't know, something to introduce them a bit better than I have been doing, where it's just showing a few photos of them. I would like to make a universe with these characters, but I don't know, I'm lazy. Anyway, I hope this was fun to watch, because I just feel like I've been droning on about stuff that doesn't mean anything, but it was fun to actually talk about my characters for once, because sometimes people don't really ask about them very often, but, that's either here nor there. But I know this is for my 30,000K on Instagram, but I would also like to thank everybody else here. Hitting 14K on YouTube is still huge to me. I know it's not a very big number, but to me it's huge, and it's so cool to have you all like watch my videos and talk to me. I enjoy the comments the most. It's weird to say, but it's just so cool to, I don't know, it's just so cool to have so many people enjoy my videos and enjoy me, which is also kind of weird. But I don't know, I've always wanted to do this. Like, I've always wanted to be on YouTube and to show my work and to, like, I don't know, just share my creativity with everybody else. And it's just nice to have people really interested in my work for once. I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Like, it means a lot. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it does. It does really mean a lot to me. And I hope to keep entertaining you guys and showing you, me getting better over time, or me getting into other things and you guys enjoying it just as much. I mean, who knows how long it'll be before Hazbin Hotel ever really drops, but I'm excited for when it does, and I hope you guys will still be here when it does, because I'm gonna go crazy with so much fan art, you have no idea. But in the meantime, I hope you really enjoyed this video. The next drawing is also another surprise, so I hope you guys will enjoy what I have to show, because I'm super excited. But anyway, yeah, I hope everyone has a really good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!